Hello again. It's been a while since I've done a review of a book from my Books to Inspire You series. And this one is an interesting one that I picked up in Turkey for just a pittance. Here you go. It's a book on Sufism, and it's simply titled after the author, Malvana Jalaludin Rumi, better known just as Rumi in the West. And he's probably the most famous of Sufis. For those who don't really know what Sufism is, it's sort of an offshoot of Islam, very mystical. You may have heard of whirling dervishes. That's part of Sufism, this sort of trance-like state where you spin round and round and round. It's sort of I suppose you'd call it Islamic Gnosticism, although its origins actually go back beyond Islam. You could say it might be more connected with Zoroastrianism, perhaps, or some of the sort of paganism of that area of Persia and Arabia, the Levant area. Anyway, it became absorbed into Islam, and to be honest, if you read a lot of the Sufi poets, etc., it has its sort of own character, which doesn't really reference the Quran or the teachings of Islam at all. To some extreme Muslims, Sufis are regarded as heretics. The more, I suppose, tolerant sects or branches would be accepting of Sufism. So, I mean, it still exists in many countries. As I said, I got this book in Turkey. And that's quite sort of accepted in Turkish society. So probably the most famous thing he's for is love poems, and he does often write about what he calls the beloved, which is it's really about the sort of a relationship between yourself and God, and it sort of alludes to sort of relationships, sort of in a sort of romantic way almost, although of course it isn't. But it uses that sort of as a metaphor. Now, this particular book is interesting in that nearly half the book is a description of the history of Sufism and his own life, which is great because most people don't really know a whole lot about who Rumi was or the context. They just see some of the poems and think, oh, isn't that great? He's become like a popular figure, but in the same way that maybe Khalil Gibran has become very popular. But yeah, the average Joe doesn't really know anything about his life or any context. So I thought this book was great, and it has some of the selection of poetry which isn't sort of all the sort of the famous ones that are sort of churned out constantly. Of course, because his poetry is non-copyright, all kinds of publishers can produce can produce copyright-free volumes. So you can find tons and tons of cheap Rumi collections, which are mostly sort of referencing love. So I thought this was an interesting collection in that it's more diverse, it's more well thought out, and the author, Hadland Davis, his name is, he went to the trouble of writing, quite a bit about Rumi, and he's been quite careful in his selection of poetry. So I think, it gives you a better idea of who he actually was. So I would certainly recommend going out and getting this book if you're interested in Rumi or in Sufism in general. And that's it for now. Sorry about the coughing. I've been struggling with getting rid of the cold for quite some time with the horrible weather we've been having here in Ireland. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up if you liked it, and feel free to comment and subscribe as well if you like. Thank you very much. Bye for now.